So what I really want to talk about today is like specific questions that small business owners may have. And we're going to go anywhere. We're going to go from lead generation to systems to models and how I was able to scale my business up from when I started day one to here I am 20 something years later. So one of the biggest struggles that most new sales people come in contact with is the follow-up, and it's the feeling like you're bugging somebody. I think that it's important to just kind of dissect it a little bit. So in sales, what you want to do is you want to first find out what the reservation is or find out what the issue is. So if you're talking to somebody and they're like, hey, listen, I'm interested in what you do, the service that you provide, and I'm just not ready to move forward yet. You have to first find out what the objection is. What's the objection? 99% of the time, it's money. It's a money thing, right? So like if you're a new salesperson and you're trying to book new clients, you have to first find out what that objection is, because then what's going to happen is you're going to start personalizing it, and you're going to start putting excuses in your head that says, oh, well, they don't want to work with me. It's not that they don't want to work with you. It's just that maybe there's a threshold. Maybe they don't have the money for it. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was just an idea. So you want to go back and find out their motivation. So like when I'm talking to somebody who wants to buy a house, for example, I say, okay, if I found you the perfect house tomorrow, would you be ready to move forward and put an offer in? And depending on their answer, I know whether or not they're going to be somebody that I'm going to be able to work with, because most people are like, oh, well, yeah, maybe. Or it's like, when do you see yourself in your new home? Mm-hmm. And they say, okay, I see myself in my new home by springtime. Okay, well, what's important about springtime? Oh, well, by springtime, I have to do it because my kid is graduating from college, or they're graduating from high school and they're going to move out, and I don't want to have a 4-bedroom house when I need to downsize down to a 3-bedroom. Mm-hmm. So you got to find out what the objection is first as a salesperson, and then find out why it's important to them. So if you're dealing with somebody, let's just say you're talking to somebody who's starting to, maybe you're running a production company. Right, and that production company is giving you a price quote of, let's call it whatever. I'm gonna just use a simple number, $5 an episode, and you got to ask the person like, okay, cool. So, do you agree that I'm the person that could help you accomplish your goals? Start with that question, something along those lines. Like, do you think that the services I'm providing are something that could help you accomplish those goals? If they say yes, great. Is there any issue that's stopping us from moving forward today? And then
you're just closing in that very moment.
You're closing. ABC, always be closing as a salesperson. and that's a skill, right? Like you have to learn that, because if not, you're going to personalize it. You think that for me as a salesperson, I speak to probably, 300 to 400 people a month. Only 2 or 3 of them am I actually are actually going to become my clients. Right. I don't personalize those other 297 people.
Yeah,
I think that what most small business owners fail to do is create a system. Right? Yes. So, for example, if you're starting a company that is a production company, what you want to do is you want to start a system. You start a system very simply. You start at top of funnel, right? Think about it from a funnel perspective. Top of funnel is basically like, okay, I have an interest in using your services. Okay, cool. There's an interest. So now what you as the business owner should do is say, okay, first step, if you're interested, is here's a questionnaire. Here's a 10 question form to fill out. So and in that form, you can kind of put questions in there like, how motivated are you? Do you have a budget for this? What is your budget for this? And then that 10 question form will help you kind of gauge a lot of interest and weed out a lot of people. So now let's say they fill out the form. What's the next step of the form? Okay, cool. So what's going to happen next is we're going to have an exploratory meeting. Here's my calendar. Book an exploratory meeting at your convenience.
And that's just to talk?
And that's just to talk.
Okay.
Right? Because people are going to come to you and say, hey, they're going to ask you for ideas and say, hey, great. First step is I'm going to send you a form. You fill out that form. Once they fill out the form, the next step in the funnel is we'll do an exploratory meeting. And basically it's going to be a 30-minute meeting via Zoom. And then you're going to have certain questions that you're going to ask them. And in that exploratory meeting, you're going to let them do most of the talking, because you're going to be interviewing them to find out if they're going to make it to step number 3. Step number 3 will be, okay, great. So here's how we work. In order for us to be able to set up some date and times, here is a deposit request form. It's a simple $200 deposit request form. And what that will do is it will allow us to come in and film a You can call it whatever you want, a pilot episode or a pilot of whatever it is that they want to do. Now you've created step 1, 2, and 3, and you'll see most people won't get to step number 1. And then if they get to step number 1, even smaller are going to get to step number 2. Even smaller are going to get to step number 3. Once you get to step number 3 and somebody actually puts their dollars up, honestly, it doesn't really matter to you because you've already made $200 for how much of your time?
Right.
Now you've created a system and a funnel for people to work their way through. And you are interviewing them. They're not interviewing you. You're finding out this is somebody that you want to spend your time with. And you don't go through with all those text messages and all the other stuff. What you could do is anybody who is interested, if they don't even make it to step number 1, what I would do if I was you is I would create a mailing list, an email list, right? Hey, are you interested? Great. Here, fill out this form. When they fill out that form, now they become part of your email list. And what you do is every single month or week or whatever, however time you want to do it as a small business owner, you send out a production tip of the week, production tip of the month. And all those people are going to end up in your database. And then the whole idea is to provide enough value to them in your database to get to step number 1, 2, 3. And then 4, you have different packages. And you just figure out once they pay the $200 and you do the test pilot could be 10 minutes long. As a small business owner, relationships are gold, but also people have to earn the right to build that relationship with you. You don't need to go out there and bend over backwards for people. You are, as a small business owner, you have to understand what your value is that you bring, right? So you have to just understand that let them earn the right to be in business with you and shift your mindset from that of somebody that needs the business and those leads that first come in. Listen, I'm a real estate agent, right? So when somebody tells me they want to sell their house, my ears perk up. But then comes along the pre-qualifiers. Right. Okay, wait a second. You want to sell your house? Okay, well, where is your house? Oh, my house is in Timbuktu. And okay, cool. Well, how much do you want to sell your house for? Oh, I want to sell my house for, $500,000. Okay, cool. How'd you come up with that number? Oh, I think that number makes sense because my neighbor sold their house for that number. I do a quick little boom, boom, boom search. I find that their house is only worth $100,000. They're living in fairy tale land.
Right.
And so that's it. So they've just knock themselves out of me putting my focal attention into them. I would sit with them maybe for 10, 15 minutes and explain to them, hey, listen, I want to make sure that we are a good fit for each other. So I just want to make sure that during our exploratory meeting, the whole purpose of this meeting is to find out that you're the right fit for me and that I'm the right fit for you, because I don't just go and work with just anybody. I've had a lot of bad experiences with people that said they wanted to start doing productions and they ended up just wasting my time and kicking my tires. Right. And I want to make sure, and I don't think based on our original conversations that that's who you are, but I just want to make sure of that, and I have to protect my time because I got a lot of stuff going on. Let me tell you the most important thing as a small business owner that you have to understand and you have to have is confidence. Unwavering confidence. If you don't feel confident in your abilities, or you can't just feel like you can go out there and wing it, then you're not going to fucking make it. You have to have such utter fucking confidence in yourself that nobody could tell you that you're not fucking good at what you do. And as long as your services are in line with the marketplace, you're going to be fine. Because one of the early things that I did in my life was I did one of those pyramid schemes, and it was a lot of bullshit. But one thing that I got value out of was the books that they had us read. And there was a book, and I don't remember the name of it. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it, but it was talking about left-footed people and right-footed people. And what they were saying is that think about it like you're at a high school dance. And there's 20 different girls lined up in front of you. And 19 of them walk over to you and they're left-footed. You're not looking for those left-footed people. You're looking for the one right-footed people. And that one right-footed person is going to be the right match for you. So as a small business owner, you have to understand that you're just looking for the right-footed person. All the other people, you're gonna have these experiences with people that are gonna kick tires and waste your time. You have to be able to go out there and say, fuck all that. I'm looking for the person that's a right match for me. As long as your products are in line with the marketplace and you have utter confidence in your abilities to be able to provide value and that the service that you're providing is top notch and it's to the best of your ability, you'll be fine. I think it's important to understand what your skills are and what they're not. Let me ask you a question. As a small business owner, if you were able to sell a product, what number, and only you can answer this question, what number makes sense for you to offer out as a commission? If I was able to sell a production package for $5,000, would I be willing to pay out 10% of that to somebody, to a salesperson? And also the other thing is that like you could leverage so much right now with virtual assistants and AI that if somebody says to you, hey, you know what, I want to use your services, great. What I'm going to do is connect you with my assistant, and my assistant will, and then once they'll book an appointment with you. But throughout that process, you're making it with somebody else, so you're not the one who's doing the salesing. You're not the one being the salesperson. It could be somebody else that's in the Philippines or in another country, and they're the ones that are saying, hey, Mr. Smith or whatever, you had said that you wanted to work with Bob Jones Productions. Mm-hmm. So in order to do that, this is the first step, this is the second step, this is the third step. And then what you do is you have them be the person that's annoying. And you set up automated, they have this software right now. It's called, what's it called? I'm thinking, you get a CRM. And the CRM that you could use is called Go High Level. Mm-hmm. Go High Level will set up automated text and emails. Think about it. For the person that said no to you and that texted you on Christmas and texted you on New Year's, if you just had an AI or like an automated text messages or emails that went out to them every other week, and it wasn't you sending it, so now you're not personalized saying, hey, they didn't answer me. Right. They didn't answer the bot.
Right.
And then the conversation is going to be a little different because when they hit you up, hey, I haven't gotten back to your assistant yet. They don't know that your assistant's a robot.
Right.
Take yourself out of the equation. Make yourself not the salesperson.
Yeah, I don't.
Good guy, bad guy. Good cop, bad cop.
Right.
If you don't want to be the salesperson, don't be the salesperson. Right. Put a bot in there or put some sort of automation where the sales aspect of it is all automated or virtual or whatever, so that way you don't feel so connected to the closing of the sale. Mm-hmm. Think of yourself as they have to work their way to be able to deal with you. And I get it, right? So I deal with this a lot with new real estate agents. Like, somebody called me up and they said that they want to sell a house or they want to buy a house. Great. Are they pre-approved? No. Okay. Well, are they buying cash? No. Okay. Then you can't do anything with them right now. There's somebody who's maybe a nurture. Maybe they're a 6 to 12 month person, right? Like you have to kind of differentiate your leads, because everything is a lead, right? Into different buckets. So you have hot, which is like, okay, I'm ready to move forward in the next 1 to 3 months. And those could be people who have made it through your sales funnel right away. That's 1 to 3 months. Then you've got people who are 3 to 6 months. Then you got people who are 6 to 12, and then you've got the real tire kickers. And each one of them has different automations and different sort of nurture plans that you just set up all online, so that way you're not the one who's feeling bad about not getting them returning your text.
And this is all through automation?
You could do all this through automation. Absolutely, 1,000%.
Like where do you go?
So I would start with, I'd start with a simple CRM, right? You could use something like, I'm trying to think. I would start with, because Go High Level is pretty high. It's pretty high level, right? But I can connect. So I just started using Go High Level. I have a lot of software as a realtor that sends these automations out. But why don't you start with just building it yourself?
But how do you build a software that does all that by itself?
All you have to do is you have to set up these messages, right? And then you start with, I'm just trying to think, because I have it all through real estate. Honestly, you could probably use Go High Level and just and just create the plans. They're called triggers, right? Mm-hmm. So for example, let's say you put 50 people in there. Like how many people, all right, start with this. First thing I tell new real estate agents to do is to build a database. Start with 201 people. Get 201 people on a list, name, email, or phone number, right? As long as you have a name and one way to contact them. And then the first thing you do is you go out to them and say, hey, look, remember, how I've always talked about becoming a real estate agent? Well, now I became a real estate agent and I would love your support. I just launched my new website. Can you give me some feedback? Right? And oh, by the way, do you know anybody who's looking to sell or buy real estate? Do you know anybody who's thinking or might have a production need? But not only that, here's something that's very important to understand as a salesperson. It's scientifically shown that people only have room in their brain for a certain number of brands when it comes to a product. So play word association and just do this in your head at home, everybody, right? If I said to you, I'm going to name a product, you name the brand that you associate to it. So I'm going to say sneakers. What brand comes to mind?
Nike.
Okay. And if I say beer, what comes to mind?
Corona.
If I said clothing, what comes to mind? Jeans.
Oh, fuck, I forget the Lucky Brand.
Lucky Brand. There you go. So we only have room for two or three. You can name 2 or 3 right away, but once you start getting to 4, 5, and 6, you have to really start digging. So the idea is not necessarily to sell the person, but it's when somebody mentions that field or that product that you sell, they mention your name. There's a book called Never Eat Alone. And if you read that book, it talks a lot about how you give, and you do so with the return, with the idea of branding yourself in people's minds as the expert in that field. So if you built your business more on you becoming the expert than you selling the product, the sales will just come. And also streamline your process so you're not the one that's feeling the disappointment if that's not your strength right now. And that way they're not saying no to you. They're just saying no to a bot. And think about this. It might not be no. It might just be not right now. Mm-hmm. Think about it if you had a child and they wanted to eat ice cream before they had their vegetables. You're not saying no. You're just saying not right now. And that's what people are doing. How do you execute? Right. So if we're talking about how do you execute, the first thing you have to do is do a brain dump. As a brain dump. A brain dump. And a brain dump is just sitting down, and it's always good to do it first thing in the morning because that's when you have your brain is freshest and you have your juices flowing, or whatever makes you creative, like whenever your creative mode feels it. But like just open up the notes on your app, on your phone, and just start typing in different ideas. Like, or for me, I'm a big pen and paper guy. So I'll sit down with a piece of paper and I'll just start writing ideas down. I'll just start writing things down, and then it just start coming to you. So if you go online and you use, you ever notice how when you're searching online and you type in, let's just say you're typing in Bronx real estate, or you're typing in cameras that I should use. If you scroll down just past the sponsored ads, you're gonna see the top 10 questions or the top 5 questions that the most people ask. So if you want to create content, or you want to create something, or you want to know and you're struggling with what to come up with, just scroll down a little bit and look at those questions, answer those questions. And then what you do is you take those questions that you just answered and then you put them you transcribe them. You could put them out as little quote cards, or you can answer them on your Instagram, your social media. That will help you tremendously because that's the stuff that Google is saying most people are asking. And that's a good way to come up with content. Just use the questions that people are already asking, answer those questions, and put them out on YouTube. And then from there, you'll be able to get more traction on YouTube and on Google. This is for sales too? Yeah, well, it's really for your business.
But this is the part.
Sales is one aspect of your business. What we're talking about right now, execution, that's more procedure.
Right.
So now you have to come up with the procedures. So you say, somebody says to me, hey, Steve, I struggle with procedures. Okay, great. Well, what's the end goal? The end goal is you want them to get to book appointments. Okay, so work backwards from there. What has to happen before they put a deposit down? They have to do this. And then before that, they have to do this. And then that's how you build out your flow. And then if it comes down to a software thing or a technical thing, then you just talk to people who are already doing it. Right. Or go out there and why don't you think of the best production company you could possibly think of, or somebody who's local, go through their sales process. R&D is real. It means rip off and duplicate.
That's hilarious. I thought you were going to say research and development.
Rip off and duplicate. Why are you going to recreate the wheel?
No, hell yeah, 100%.
Go through other people's sales process. I guarantee you.
How do you find other people's sales process?
Very simple. The algorithm will do it for you. Go on there, right? Go on social media or go on Google and type in, I want to film a podcast. I want to find a whatever type of company, whatever product is you're selling. I want to buy a pair of sneakers. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I guarantee you the algorithm will start showing you these companies that do that, and then go through their sales process. Instead of ignoring them or clicking uninterested, go through it a couple times. Get to the point where you're about to book and be like, and ghost them.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah.
And ghost them. Yeah.
I got a better one for you. Do you have any idea? So start here, right? What would be a successful year in your business? How much money? Okay, cool. So go backwards. How many clients is that? So take those numbers and build those packages out, right? And then go back and say, okay, how many conversations do I have to have? How many people do I need in my pipeline?
That's right.
And if you had to put a number on it, out of, let's say you speak to 10 people and they all say, hey, you know what? I'm interested in your product. How many of those people actually end up becoming clients?
Probably like 1%.
1%?
Probably, of me just talking to people.
Okay.
Probably like 1%.
Good. So that means you have to talk to 100
that's-
people to get one.
This is the worst part.
That means you have to talk to 100 people to get one.
yeah.
Your job is not to get the one. Your job is to talk to 100 people.
Right.
You have your problem is that you have a lead generation problem. You don't have a sales problem. You have a lead generation
Right. I
problem.
guess
You don't
'cause
have
if
enough
the
qualified
numbers
leads.
Is the numbers, right.
So here's what I recommend you
game.
do. I recommend you hire a business coach. So, but you need to make sure that you hire a business coach that is going to help you with certain things. So first, identify your struggles. You say that you have a salesperson problem, but it's not that. You have a lead generation problem. So you need to find somebody that's going to help you, number one, generate leads, and number two, build out your sales process. Right. Number three, come up with your nurture program or your CRM program. That's it. Those are the three things you need. They could be three different people, or they could be one person. I probably would venture to say that it's probably going to be three different people. Lead generation is first and foremost, though.
Right.
In real estate, we talk about nothing gets done before your lead generation, because if you don't have enough leads, then you're not going to have no business tomorrow.
Spinning.
So what I told him, let's figure out a way for you to build your business. You know what I mean? So like, you got to think about who needs production right now. You know who needs production?
People
Other
like you, like
business
people
owners.
like
Yes,
small
business owners.
Right.
So you should be members of. You should join every single fucking small business chamber that you possibly can in your local municipality. I guarantee you, Google your city, small business network, join that network. Go to those networking events. Go on meetup.com. Go to look for small business owners, right? Put together a list of 20,000, right? But let's just say put together a list of 1,000 people and just start cold emailing. And they have to get through the funnel to talk to you.
Right.
Think of yourself as
when you said that.
Think of yourself as the Grand Wizard.
The Wizard of Oz, right?
Think of yourself as the Grand Wizard. They got to go through all the steps to get to you. And they start with you, right? Like it starts with your relationships. Great, you're interested in XYZ product? Okay, cool. So here you go. Here's what's going to happen next. My assistant's going to reach out to you, blah, blah, blah. And then you build your process. Right. Systems, models, and lead generation. And you know where I learned that? There's a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, written by Gary Keller. And so I don't know if anybody who's listening to this is religious or not, but I like to equivalent it. I like to say that it's the equivalent of the Bible for realtors. How do you read the Bible? Think about how you read the Bible. You don't read it once through, right? You go back to it and you go back to reference. That's what this book is. And it's relevant for all businesses because it talks about lead generation, systems, and models. If you don't have those aspects in your business, you don't have a business. I just want to make sure I'm being clear on what you're asking. You're saying that you want 10 high-level clients instead of 100 lower-level clients. Yeah. That's fine. That just means that your systems have to be more. That means that you have to eliminate people faster. Okay, let me give you a perfect example. I somehow my algorithm popped up on me about this. It was a guy talking and he was saying, hey, do you make XYZ money? Do you make at least whatever, $150,000 a year? Are you over 40 years of age? Are you struggling with your weight loss? Do you think that you're hitting all cylinders on business, but you're not in your personal life? If so, click this right here. So you see how he just weeded out 99% of the people before you even click the button. So again, it goes back to your questionnaire. And if you want those high-level clients, you just have to weed them out from the beginning. Listen, and I want to make sure I say this very humbly. I personally my business is primarily 75% listings, 25% buyers. I personally only deal with specific buyers at this stage in my career because it's just what I choose to do. It's what I prefer to do. So if you're the small business owner who only wants to work with a specific type of client, you have to create what's called the client avatar. And that client avatar tells you the ideal client. So that way, when somebody comes to you and they say, hey, you know what? My business is only doing gross sales in a year. Let's just say I'm only doing $40,000 a year in gross sales. You know damn well he don't got the budget to be paying what you want your ideal client to do. Right. So maybe you wouldn't work with that client. Maybe you figure out somebody else that you can maybe refer them to, or maybe you can offer some sort of booklet or some sort of product that you could sell them for somebody, production on a budget. And you say, hey, look, you know what? If you want, here's what I could do for you. I could, you can come in, you could read this, whatever, this handbook or whatever it may be, and this will show you how to produce on your own. And when you're ready and you have the budget, then you can come and you could, go into the next level of clients. But just to go back to your original question, weed out people from the beginning. Figure out your client avatar, the ideal client. And the more specific you are, the better it's going to be, because you're going to be looking for people that make $100,000 to $200,000 a year, that are already spending $2,000 to $3,000 a month on a marketing budget, that are ready, that they actually have the money to be able to buy your services. And that is how you grow as a small business owner. And if you have any further questions, comments, just stay tuned for the next episode, because I guarantee you that more nuggets like this are going to come time and time and time again. This is Steve Padernacht, and that's the Padernacht Podcast.